Okay, hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining Caddle today with Walmart Canada. My name is Elise. I'm Assistant Marketing Manager here at Caddle, and I'll be the moderator today. So we're very happy to announce that Caddle is teaming up with Walmart Canada to deliver user-generated content for Walmart's marketplace, private label, and national brands. Today we have Caddle's VP of Insight Solutions, Colleen, presenting today. To celebrate and to tell you more about the importance of user-generated content like ratings and reviews, we are excited to have this conversation with Walmart's Senior Manager Charu and Walmart's e-commerce UGC lead Sharik. We have a lot of insights and discussion planned for today. As usual, we'll be sending the deck and webinar recording following the event so you can reference it and share with those who couldn't make it. Welcome everyone, and let's have Colleen take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. We have a lot of regulars that we love seeing come back. So welcome to the community. And for those new, welcome. Today, we have so many cool things to talk about. And I'm very excited to have Sharik and Charu. Unfortunately, Charu can't, there's something up with her camera. So we're going to hear her lovely voice. And Sharik is going to mime, right? Awesome. All right, so I'll throw it to you both to introduce yourselves so that everyone on the call understands how awesome your job is and what you do for Walmart. Sharik, did you want to go first?
Sure. I'll go first. Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending this webinar. We're excited as Walmart to be here with Caddle again, and we're excited that you guys are here as well. Just quickly about myself, my name is Sharik Hassan. I manage the UGC program at Walmart Canada. Along with my coach, Charu, we work very closely together in trying to do everything we can to make sure UGC is successful on Walmart Canada and it's growing, and it really adds value everywhere it needs to. And there's a lot of opportunity in this space, and we hope to work with all of you together to capitalize on that.
And Charu, welcome.
Yeah. All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Charu. I apologize. My camera and my video is not working for some reason, but I'll go ahead and introduce myself. So Charu Talwar, Senior Manager, Content Strategy at Walmart Canada. I've been with Walmart Canada for over 2 years and was part of Walmart US content acquisition actually prior to moving to Canada. So here at Walmart Canada, I'm responsible for 3 work streams for product content and taxonomy. That's work stream number 1, and then product recommendations. And the final work stream is user-generated content. Lots and lots of work and efforts are going in at this point in terms of boosting our user-generated content on our site, and I'll speak to it a little bit later. There is a very definite purpose why Sharik and I are here today. Like Sharik mentioned, we'd like to speak to the importance of ratings and reviews, content as part of our Walmart Canada's overarching omni strategy, and our partnership with Caddle to provide our brand partners with a fast, cost-effective, and a scalable solution really to improve their review coverage. And that's us. Yeah. Excited to be here.
Thanks so much for joining. Everyone's excited to hear from you. So today we have about 20 slides to show you all, and then we're going to leave a little bit of room for questions and answers. So in the pane, you can submit your question, and anything that we don't get to, we'll absolutely respond to directly. And if you wanted to book some time with me if you have specific questions, then I'm happy to do that as well. So today we're going to talk about our big announcement, and then we're going to talk about why ratings and reviews are so critical for the next stage of omni-channel development, understanding how important that is for decisions both in store and online. And then we're gonna have Sharik and Charu speak to why Walmart is doubling down on this effort. And then they're going to also share an early case study that we did in Q4 of 2020 and show you what the results were. I'm going to move through the pricing, and then we'll have time for Q&A. So for those of you, next slide, that are new to Caddle, I know a lot of you are regulars on our webinars, and thank you again for attending. For those of you that are new, Caddle is a mobile first, we lost Sherrick, a mobile first database insights platform. We have the largest daily and monthly active panel in the Canadian marketplace, and we micro reward our members for engaging with brands and retailers. How we do that is next slide, through a combination of 5 tools, can expose video, collect video, follow up with surveys, collect receipts, data validation based on receipt, we collect reviews, and we re-engage our panel if there are interesting things to learn into a qualitative, because they are our first party panel, and we manage them and grow them ourselves. And today, next slide, big news, we've partnered with Walmart, as we alluded to earlier, to collect UGC from national brands, private label vendors, and now marketplace vendors. So every single SKU that you see on Walmart.ca, Caddle has the ability to collect high quality, frequent, and more ratings and reviews for in a very cost-effective and fast way. So we're going to explain that in the next couple of slides. How it works, next slide. It's very simple. No samples, no shipping samples across the country to untargeted audiences. We send the consumer in the store to purchase the item or send the consumer online to purchase the item. We validate that purchase with a receipt. And if it's online, we validate it with a shipping confirmation. We then expose that targeted member to the review, and they get rewarded again to leave a review for the product. We collect a star rating, a minimum character title to the review, a minimum character body, and then would you recommend, yes, no at the bottom, which gives very high quality reviews, syndicates directly to Walmart.ca with no need for a Bazaar Voice membership. What we the reason our quality is higher is because we are targeting the members based on engagement in the categories of the products that we're dealing with. So I'm going to throw now to why ratings and reviews are critical for consumers and business. So word of mouth marketing, we've run a series of studies on this in April, really understanding what those touch points are for the consumer and why ratings and reviews are so critical for their decision-making purchases. We found that 5 times, word of mouth marketing results in 5 times the sales that paid media does. So when you're looking at your overall marketing budget, shifting some from social media and or traditional marketing efforts into more of a UGC and online ratings and review collection is something that should be looked at going forward. Consumers, so we found that 90% of consumers are more likely to trust and buy a product recommended by a friend or peer. So whether or not you're in store or online or where you're making your purchase, you're always wanting, 90% of the people consider that that is a way to check to make sure you're making the right purchase before you do so. Next slide. Also, 95.2% of consumers deem reviews very important when they're purchasing something new online. And the next slide is even more shocking. I guess it's a result of COVID, but 88% of consumers that even look at ratings reviews before they buy something new in store. Next slide, and now we're gonna let Charu and Sherrick take the floor and explain to you why they're doubling down on UGC collection.
Thanks, Colleen. Can we move on to the next slide, please? All right, guys. So when we talk about user-generated content in the context of Walmart.ca, there are really 3 elements that we focus on. First is obviously your ratings and review content, which means your average star ratings and reviews that are left by customers. We also focus on Q&A, which is basically questions that are organically left by other customers, and answers to those questions that are either provided by customers or brands like yourselves. answering really the questions that are left by the customers, right? And the third element that we focus on is review responses, which is the capability to respond to either positive, negative, or neutral reviews to manage your brand's image and perception in front of customers, right? So basically, user-generated content is the voice of the customer. It is way more powerful than brand or manufacturer provided content, product descriptions, and images. And Colleen did point that out, that customers trust user-generated content, which is the authentic feedback that customers leave on the site relative to the different products that we carry. And this content is trusted and is more creditable, which is why it helps to move the needle on sales and get us the conversions that we need, right? Walmart Canada in general are emerging omni-channel, overarching e-commerce and omni-channel strategy, in that we're striving to really improve our customers' confidence. Where a lot of efforts are focused on that, and we're striving to build a stronger digital relationship with our customers. And ratings and reviews obviously have a really huge role to play in that. Next slide, please. So zooming in a little bit into the importance of ratings and reviews. So the first point that you see here is that product pages with reviews have 3 times more sales than pages without. Now, this data point is taken directly from our site. So FY21, this is what we observed. When we compared products that had review content, at least one review, versus product that had no review content at all, there was a massive difference, 3 times more conversion on products that had reviews, right? And when we think about reviews, we need to remember that our first 50 reviews are the most powerful, right? They provide 30% of lift. After that kind of plateaus. But if you were to focus on anything, your first 50 reviews are super critical. Reviews help to make your products more discoverable on Google. Again, as part of Walmart Canada's Omni strategy, huge focus is on searchability and discoverability of products, and review content really helps, because it is indexed. Review content is indexed by Google. It really, helps with the searchability and discoverability of your products, both on Google as well as on our site. And again, speaking to our Omni strategy, this is the data point that is observed on our site. Nearly half of our customers, we know now, that are definitely reading ratings and reviews before making their purchase in stores. So expansion, right? Really, kind of doubling down on our efforts on ratings and reviews is Walmart Canada's top priority, and probably the reason we're here in front of you today. So keeping in mind the priority and the emphasis that we're kind of giving to content in general, you guys must have already, kind of had a look at the enhanced content scorecard, which is getting rolled out across all the different categories that we had today. You might have, had the first run and be waiting for the second run, or you would have got the second run, because this is a 2 iterations enhanced content scorecard, which is focused on really giving an in-depth analysis of your content as it is listed on our Walmart.ca site. The idea is to go beyond our basic rules, our content quality rules that have been, running for a long time, to do a deeper dive into what are the elements of content that you guys really need to improve on. So to that effect, as part of this enhanced content scorecard, there are 4 main dimensions that we're looking at. The first dimension is definitely share of voice because of the criticality we just talked about. This captures, what is the average star rating across all your products for your brand or for you as a vendor, as well as what is the total count of reviews, and you are given a weighted score based on whether you have 0 to 10 reviews or 10 to 50 or 50 beyond. So share of voice is one dimension. And again, as I mentioned, discoverability and searchability is a huge focus. So that's our second dimension, where we're looking at your product listings of your brands and really seeing that whether your product listings are showing up on the top pages or on the are ranked high on Google and Walmart.ca. And in addition to that, we have our third dimension, which is basically our bare minimum listing standards. These align with the rules that have been long running, but basically capturing very minimum requirements for an item to be listed on our site. And on top of that, you have the fourth dimension, which is your content quality that goes deeper into the quality elements, looking at the images, image quality, resolution, coverage of an image on a canvas, as well as your keywords, keyword density, and things like that. So overall, this effort is kind of underway with the objective of really moving the needle on the presentation of content to our customers so that they have access to accurate and complete and enriched product data to make informed decisions on our site.
That's great. So I'll speak to what Caddle can do for you. Next slide, Elise. Share of voice seems to be deficient across a lot of categories and brands, and quality of review drives that number down. So our solution, because we are screening our audience for someone, so if we're talking about, let's say, men's grooming product, we would screen the panel for members who are engaged in this category or potentially buying it or have plans to buy it in the next 3 months. And we would serve those members with the offer to go and purchase the product at a discount. There'd be a coupon associated with that, and they would go in, purchase it, upload their receipt to the Caddle app, and then get the maybe a week later the review offer would come, and they would they would add that review in. And because we are targeting the engaged consumer, the average rating of our overall reviews are much higher than the market standard of using different products. And obviously the count reviews. So in our campaigns, we guarantee you 30 reviews and up to 50 based on the redemptions that we give our 50. Obviously that number is completely flexible. If you want to do 200, we can do that as well. In the discoverability segment, recency is very important, and I think that Sharik will be speaking to that shortly, but having reviews that are kind of refreshed every quarter is very important as well, because people who see reviews that are more than 4 months old kind of discount the credibility of those things. So we can definitely help on both in both of those quadrants. Next slide for Sharik.
All right. Thank you, Colleen and Charu. I think you guys set it up really well. Charu, you explained the importance of UGC, and particularly to Walmart. So, I mean, I think everybody here understands the importance of UGC, guys, and particularly with regards to Walmart. We are on a omni journey. You know, it is going forward. UGC is surfacing in almost every conversation, every meeting, high-level meeting that's happening. It's incorporated into the scorecard, and it's everywhere. So I think it's you know, it's time that we paid a lot more attention to this. I think we have been paying attention, and I think thanks to the efforts, at least within the Walmart universe, from Charu and myself, over the past couple of years, it has really come to the top of our vendors' minds and our sellers' minds. I think there was a time when all we cared about was just get something on your product page, whatever it is, something is better than nothing. And I think we did say that to certain people, that something is better than nothing. I think, but now I think we can get beyond that, and we can get a bit more granular into what type of reviews and, you know, how often, et cetera, should you be doing this. So I think this is the right place. Caddle is a great partner, and we're here to tell you that yes, get something on your product page, but if you know more than that, what everyone needs to be considering. What everyone needs to be thinking about is how to optimize your reviews. And it's not that difficult. It can be done pretty easily. Some of the things that you need to keep in mind are that old reviews, as Colleen said, might not be as helpful. We are all consumers. We all go to product pages, and perhaps one of the things when we see the last review being over 3 or 4 months old, we wonder, has anyone even bought the product, you know, in the past couple of weeks or past couple of months? There's something wrong with it, etc. So recency is definitely very important, and this is a Caddle a data point here, and we definitely agree with it. You know, 57% of consumers think that reviews older than 4 months are outdated. So it's great that if you have a lot of reviews on your product page, now begin to look at how old they are. And if they are old, let's get on the process of renewing those and refreshing your UGC on your product page. Then the other thing is score is very important, definitely. It is probably one of the first things people see when they come to the page. We have the summary container on top, and every website does, and they're going to look at what the ratings are from people like themselves. What ratings have people given this product? It is, I don't think there's any explanation needed here. If there's something below, a 4-star, it's not optimal. People will begin to look at that product as there's something wrong with it, and what's wrong with it is almost as good as what's right with it. However, if you have something 4+, they're gonna imagine in their heads that, yeah, what's right with it is a lot more than what's wrong with it, and it's a pretty good product. So these are two very important things that we need to look at now. Have a go back and look at your assortment on Walmart.ca. Let's increase that coverage, and moreover, let's look at some of these more granular points, which will really help. Next slide.
Next slide.
So I think Charu touched on this point in her piece. If we are seeing, it might not be, I can't give you a guarantee, and don't come back to me, Sharik, you said this, but across our site, we are seeing 3 times more conversion on products that have ratings and review content, versus those products that don't. And those are the top line facts that we're seeing. Adding on to that, the Caddle data points here, that 57% of consumers will have decreased intentions, and 41% will switch. It definitely is something that we see day in and day out, where if it's a product, it might be a great product, but if no one has reviewed it and people haven't seen good reviews for it elsewhere or whatever, they will less likely to purchase that product versus if you had a solid UGC UGC kind of impact on that product page. And then finally, one review is not enough. I don't think I need to say that. As I said, there was a time when we used to say just get something on there, but you and all of us being consumers, we can understand that there is a sweet spot for a product page that when you get on there, if you see only about 10 reviews, it will make you wonder. And when you see 500 reviews, you might be left confused, and it might be overwhelming, and you don't you'll disregard something beyond the first 15 or whatever it is. But however, when you see about just around 50 reviews at least, those are reviews that you can wrap your head around. Those are reviews that that seems like the sweet spot kind of number, the 30 to 50 that we are seeing, not just from Caddle but our other review partners and other research areas as well. So do consider that if you have a great product and you haven't got enough UGC on it, let's get it up to that at least 30 mark in terms of number of views. Yep.
Next slide.
So at Walmart, of course, there's a lot of stuff happening, and there's a lot of subcategories of, and sub environments and sub universes, and there's a lot of different things happening. And from amongst those, you might be a 1P vendor from our national brands. You might be a marketplace seller, or you might be a private brand vendor, and you're wondering, does this apply to me? Yes, it applies to all of you. The importance of UGC and the importance of getting reviews on your products applies to whether you're a national brand vendor with Walmart, marketplace seller, private brand vendor. If you don't have it, your products that you're putting on Walmart.ca will not work, and they won't work as well. So all of these tips are for all of you, and we are the conduit for all of you. If you have any ratings and review questions, reach out to Charu or myself through the email that we'll provide, and leverage Caddle to get your UGC up to speed. It applies to everybody. And just an example of that. When we kicked off, if you can go to the next slide, when we kicked off our relationship with Caddle, we tested out a good number of our private brands, basically our finest products, a number of new our finest products. They really are great products. Majority of them, I think, had just been launched. Maybe one or two of them had been on for some time, but they were not getting the traction that we would like. And that's the case with a lot of products. They are great, but they just get in front of people, and they're not getting the snowball effect happening. So we got the pilot done with these our finest. About 10 of them. We had great results, and that was kind of the springboard to bring the rest of the private label team on board with leveraging leveraging Caddle and other UGC levers that we have to help increase coverage. And really, it drove great conversion before and after. It drove great site product page visits, and I think overall we had a great experience with the pilot, and it really helped drive the point home. So what do I want to conclude with all of this? Again, doesn't matter what type of business you have, Walmart.ca, let's get it rolling. Reach out to us. Let's leverage UGC, and all of you can do it. So yeah, thanks.
That's awesome, Sharik. Just to explain further the 3 levels of being a partner with Walmart, national brand, private label, marketplace. Our solution is scalable for any price point. So if you have a $100 bike, if you have a $500 barbecue, because we can customize the offer that we're giving the consumer. It's capped at 50 redemptions, so it's a variable cost that we can be flexible with to drive those redemptions. Also, this is our pricing for the national brand. Essentially, any client that comes to us, we've been collecting tens of thousands of ratings and reviews for brands and agencies and all of our awesome partners for a little over a year now at scale. And this is the costing that we have. And we found that based on measuring and comparing based on what's out there in Canada right now, we're 30 to 70% cheaper than the traditional sampling style. You can't send 50 barbecues across the country and have this and it be scalable for you. But the fact that we're just sending them into store and giving them a rebate to do that, it's much faster that way. Also, for the teams that are managing, I in a previous life was working with brands and managing these programs at the brand. It takes a lot of time and effort managing samples and logistics and making sure that people receive them and then shipping. It's a lot of time. So we're saving the teams, the marketing trade teams that are working at the brand 90% of their time. So essentially it's as easy getting started with us as sending us a campaign insertion form with several pieces of data on the product itself, the Walmart URL, and then you give it to us, set it and forget it. And either from an FMCG standpoint, you're doing a quarterly campaign, or if you're a seasonal item and we do it just as the product hits the store, and few days later after we launch, you'll see the reviews naturally start syndicating. So it's not a chunk of 50 reviews that goes to the page. As the members submit their reviews, they naturally, after we clean them and make sure that they are quality and helpful reviews, and they're not, they don't go against any community standards, they're not gibberish, then we syndicate them naturally into Walmart, so you'll see them populate. And we do have a little logo. If you go onto your product page, or pick a product on Walmart.ca, you will see review collected by Caddle, so you'll know that those reviews are coming from us. So this is our standard costing, but as a Walmart seller or vendor, next slide, we're giving you a discount. So we're doing a discount on the campaign cost, and that's one campaign per SKU to syndicate 30 to 50 reviews. The only over and above additional cost to that is the rebate that your offer, your trade coupon that we pass through to the member in order to go buy the product, to incentivize them to go and redeem that coupon. And there we have a $1 processing fee so that we can pay that money to each of our members. But it's very, for the average FMCG product, one campaign, single campaign could be anywhere from $700 to $1,000. So very scalable, very manageable, very budget conscious. And if you annual campaigns, you get about a 15% savings. So if you wanted that same product to be refreshed every quarter, that annual price is there. So I think we're done with all of that's a lot of information. So throwing to the group, the community, are there any questions that we can answer for you while you have us all here?
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of questions come in throughout the presentation. Thank you to our speakers. You guys, that was a lot of information to digest, which is why we have a lot of questions here as well. So let me just work my way through and see what we have here. So to start us off, I think this is a good question, open to any of you guys to answer, is what impact has COVID-19 had on ratings and reviews, on UGC and online shopping activity, and whether you've seen any spikes or dips?
Colleen, you want to start?
They don't care what I think. Sharuk, you tell them. What's going on Walmart.ca over COVID?
I mean, I don't have a Charu might. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we saw numbers spike in every direction, right? In regards to e-commerce, everything was more. People are visiting product pages more. People are viewing the review section more. So the importance of UGC, and that's why we see the push now. It just went through the roof. What is predicted for as we come out of COVID, hopefully soon. From what we have seen, e-com is going to stay strong, and the importance will remain.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. And depending on category, obviously grocery, there's been a lot of shift just based on safety concerns, a lot of shifting between channels. Walmart's been doing really well through that time from a grocery perspective, but it will continue to ebb and flow and categories will change. But if you look at the seasonal departments and the everything outside of grocery in the Walmarts, they definitely are more heavily rely on ratings and reviews, just especially categories in patio and barbecue, clothing, all that, all those categories. So very critical. Anything else, Elise?
Okay. Yes, so we have a couple questions about whether you guys will get the deck and things like that. So yes, we will be sharing the deck in a follow-up email to everyone who joined today. So you'll have that as reference, as well as a webinar recording if you want to watch this entire thing over. We also had a question about if this presentation is different from our previous ratings and review event that we had done with Sharuk. So this is our official announcement partnership of Caddle teaming up with Walmart Canada. So now we've fully integrated with the Walmart marketplace, private brands, national brands, and we can really give you the full solution that perhaps you are looking for. If
and
you
the
guys
biggest
have any
difference before previous before was, we had Sherrick and Charu as experts at Walmart speaking to what they were doing. But the biggest difference now is that we have solidified the partnership in such that even if you're a vendor out there and you don't have a Bazaar Voice membership, in order for you to syndicate before, you had to become a Bazaar Voice member to syndicate to Walmart. Because of Caddle's partnership with Walmart and our membership and our partnership with Bazaar Voice, you don't need that. You don't need to be a Bazaar Voice vendor. It obviously has its benefits if you are in certain categories and you want to go in other categories to other retailers, but you do not need to be a Bazaar Voice member in order for us to syndicate to Walmart.ca. There's no extra cost. We collect the reviews, we syndicate them naturally to Walmart.ca. So that is the biggest differentiation. And in addition to that is the marketplace. So there's thousands and thousands of SKUs that were not included in that original communication. And now, because we don't sample, it's so much more easier to send people online to buy the products that you don't have the ability to generate UGC for elsewhere.
Okay, next question. Do you, this one, perhaps Colleen, you would be best to answer this as well. Do you own the reviews once they are developed? Can the reviews developed for Walmart be leveraged on other customer websites?
Because you pay for the campaign, we give you a data file of every review and a basic demographic of the person who answered that review as a data file output. And what you do, most of our vendors are putting that on their brand sites. If they're not Bazaar Voice members, you would put it into your brand site, or that's the most common thing that our clients are doing. So yes, you do own that data once we hand that back to you because you've paid for the campaign.
Okay, this one I think can be open to all three of you. Are there any insights you can share on how shoppers engage with ratings and reviews between grocery and general merch products?
Colleen, would you?
Yeah, if we talk about Walmart.ca, we can definitely look at the latest numbers and get back to you guys. But what we've seen as a trend lately is that on the grocery side, we're seeing more and more kind of engagement with the review content, for our CPG brands, and reviews are definitely being factored to consumer decisions, and this has been growing over time.
Yes, we've done a lot of work with the online grocery consumer, a lot of tracking studies. We have a CX study, syndicated study that we run, and there was a lot of repeat. A lot of people are brand promiscuous at the beginning if they haven't done online grocery before and doing it because of the pandemic. Walmart tends to be a place where people repeat after first try because they are the only grocer outside of Will.ca and a couple of other smaller regionals that has ratings and reviews, and people are trained in other categories to use the rating and review for conversion. So potentially we could ask the question directly to our Omni panel, but the one-to-one there is because Walmart's the only game in town that has the critical mass of ratings and reviews for their grocery.
All right, we have a question about the recency of reviews. They ask, how does recency of a review influence the consumer? Is there a best practice you see on site?
So we spoke to that. Yes, I think it was 52 and change % of consumers think that reviews older than 4 months are outdated. So a quarterly campaign. This is why when we talk to our members, we have 10,000 daily active members, 100,000 monthly actives, over 350 total. We ask them questions about how do you interact with these things, and we develop this campaign and the mechanics and the architecture of the campaign to support what's needed. So we could blow it out with 2,000 reviews, but it's not what they're looking for. They're looking for that 30 to 50 every 4 months, and it's much more budget friendly than, you know, going, like to Sherrick's point, collecting 2,000 reviews and sitting on it for 2 years, and, you know, 4 months later they don't even look at them.
If Charu doesn't have anything, that I'll add that we agree. I think as Walmart, we would like to see if you find your product has reviews which are older, we would also recommend that you refresh that. And yeah, we totally agree with that conclusion and that insight.
All right, I think this is a good question, is how would you go about, just in your guys' opinion, how would you handle negative reviews? Would you leave those on? Do you think that impacts, you know, the sales conversion positively or negatively? If all reviews are all positive, does that seem suspicious? Have you guys seen anything around that?
I can take
Go ahead,
that.
Char. Yep.
Yeah, sure. I can take that question. So when we talk about negative reviews, we need to remember that every review is important, positive or negative, in providing feedback to customers. When it is negative review, sometimes it's not necessarily a completely negative review that this product is completely, kind of bad. It is that negative review might be specifically talking about an aspect that doesn't work very well for a particular customer, and other customers kind of value that feedback. And the other aspect about negative reviews that I wanted to touch on is that through our review response program, through Bizarre Voice, you have the ability to respond to positive as well as negative reviews, more so for negative reviews, to give that, that sense of trust to the customer that you've acknowledged the negative feedback. You'll be working on that product, or hey, here's how you reach out to this particular number, customer care number, and or reach out to this email and we'll get back to you. Or kind of be able to manage the overall perception of your product, and that would really help spin the negative reviews in the direction that other customers will be motivated to see that you're driven to respond to concerns of other customers, kind of adding to the trust in your brand and in your product. So those were kind of few thoughts on negative reviews and how we view them.
And to add to that, Caddle doesn't censor at all. The only time that we would hold a review back is if it's not helpful. Like I'll use the example of when I used to buy patio furniture for Home Depot. I, as a buyer, would want to see the red cushion fades after a month. The red cushion fades after a month. The red cushion. So it's a gift for me to be able to improve my products. So yes, it will influence purchase or not influence them or influence them not to purchase, but that's an opportunity for the vendor to go back and make some improvements. But the only time we would hold it back is if they said, I hate the logo for this company, or if they were against community standards and they said some horrible things. But our members are awesome, and they legitimately love the opportunity to buy a product at discount and give their opinion. And because of our hyper targeting, and let's say we were doing a barbecue, we would screen for people who are interested in buying one in the next 3 months. So you have an engaged user there, they'll have a better quality opinion for you, and they'll give you honest feedback. And I think that's key.
Perfect. This one more question for Colleen, and I think a couple more, and we'll end off a bit early. So they want to know, do you instruct members to shop? So like, how do you screen for product needs / usage, or do you instruct them to buy a specific product to review? I think you touched on it a bit, but maybe you can just explain it a bit further.
Sure, sorry. I'm so close to it that sometimes I'm not detailed enough for the new people. So what we do is we show them on their offer wall, our members, after we've screened them to make sure they're engaged. So let's use the barbecue example. Always seems to be talking about barbecues. If anyone's like a repeat webinar person, I apologize. So we would say, okay, this guy wants to buy this barbecue in the next 3 months. He will see it on his offer wall. He will go to Walmart online or go to Walmart in store, purchase the item. The vendor will pass on, if it 50% of the value. For FMCG, we say 100. So if it's a $2 retail, say give them the $2 because it's 2 times 50. It's a $100 investment to get it redeemed. So send them in, they will purchase the exact product and they will give review on the exact product. The only time where we can syndicate to multiple pages is when it's a size. So if you got a beef jerky of 1 versus a 3-pack of the same item, that's the same review. But if you're talking about colors or flavors, that all has to be done separately because sensory is very different and colors, especially in textiles and things like that. So I hope I answered the question.
Okay, great. I think one more question to end off. Do you see video reviews gaining traction in the future? I think this will be interesting to get all your guys' input.
It already exists with, I think Power Reviews does, and you can, some lifestyle brands like Williams Sonoma, I think they collect it. We do have the capability. It's not something that we're doing currently, but it is on the roadmap. Shark, do you see it on your roadmap to incorporate that?
I was waiting for Charu to.
Yeah, yeah, I can jump in here. Yes, so visual content is definitely our focus, going to be our focus very soon. At this point, our efforts are more focused on kind of the written review content, but that's definitely on our roadmap and also on our, you know, kind of our overall, it's part of our strategy to surface more, you know, more and more of this visual, social, video content onto our site. And we would have appropriate, you know, kind of tech development, which is on our roadmap on the front end side, but also we'll be laying on partners like Caddle to also enable it from their side so that it can be surfaced on our site.
That's great. Anything else, Elise?
No, I think that's a good place to end off. Thank you so much, everyone. If we did not get to your question, I know there was a lot that were, you know, specific to your brand or specific to Walmart and pricing and compliance, things like that. All questions that are, you know, in the realm of Walmart, in our follow-up email, we will share the email you can contact to ask those specific questions that will go to your Walmart buyer. Or if you have any questions on ratings and reviews, on Caddle's involvement, and how it all works on the Caddle side, definitely feel free to email Colleen with the email on the screen, and we'll make sure to get back to you. But thank you everyone for joining and for staying on. I know it was a lot of information, and hopefully this is a collaboration you're really excited about. I know Caddle is super excited to work with Walmart Canada, you know, for the rest of the year and beyond. So thanks everyone for joining, and we'll send that follow-up with the deck and the webinar recording once again later. So look out for that in your inbox as well.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Shark and Charu. Appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.